Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Three Siblings Walk Into a Bar. I'm Storm, the youngest sibling.
I'm Deshay, the oldest sibling.
And I'm Sage, the middle sibling.
Yay!
You were like, as Storm was talking, you kept doing this, and you were like,
Oh,
how is it? Like trying to find the right angle.
yeah.
I literally was looking at this yesterday. When was I looking at this? Doesn't matter. That is not mine. I'm going to figure out whose that is in a second. But I found this thing and I wanted to see if they worked. So tell me if you can hear it, I guess. Can you hear it?
No, I don't hear anything. You have a big ass grin on your face.
Gosh. It was clapping. Like there's a whole thing where you can like put all this audio in here. And it was like there's like drum roll, laughing, cheering. I was like, I'm gonna say a joke and then I'm gonna press the laugh button every time. So that way
Or when it's quiet.
y'all have to listen to it. Or y'all don't have to listen to it, but I'm gonna be like, it's so funny, right? Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me mute this phone really quick.
Just a random, those noises, like those old school ringtones and stuff, like the Nokia ones, they creep me out. And I don't know where it came from, but I know there's like a movie or something that we watched that like
Oh, yeah.
that noise was in, and those noises just weird me out. Just like
Noise?
the like the old school ringtones, like the Nokia ringtones and stuff. Like whatever ringtone and you just looked around like, where did that come from? That is creepy to me.
Yes. There is a movie with the phone. I don't remember what it is though.
I'm
I wanna say
picturing
it's
it
like
in my
Last
head,
Call.
but I can't think of the name.
One missed call, something like that.
Oh yeah, maybe it's that one. I was just watching because the like beginning half of the new season of that 90s show came out. And so I was just like binge watching it, and it had, the laugh track and everything else in it. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
wait, we have that. I'm going to start adding that in there so everybody has to listen to the laughing. And then we just need to aww or like crying or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like the studio audience noises.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That are so fake, and obviously they did not have a live studio audience. Yeah. Oh
it makes
my
me
gosh.
think of This Is Us, because the brother is an actor on one of those shows, and I don't know why, but that's what that makes me think of.
I could never do that. Could you imagine? Because you have to because you have to film appropriately for a TV show. It's not like a play,
Right.
But then you have an audience sitting there watching you.
Yeah.
Like it would be so weird. Yeah.
Is it
and
like,
I feel like a lot would be ruined,
Yeah. I kind of feel like it would be like bringing a studio audience in to like come watch me tattoo. Like that. I feel like it would be similar to that. Like I would not perform the same way. It would not be the same.
That's what I tell people, like whenever, like at work, where you do the same thing 400,000 times a day. Right. And then the second someone comes and looks over your shoulder and I'm like, wait, I forgot what button to press. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where this is at.
Yes.
Like, wait, hold on.
I do that all the time. Like, I literally forgot how to type.
Yeah.
Stop watching me.
Yes. I literally had Richard was on the bed behind me watching a movie or something while I was doing the notes for this, and I kept typing, and I was like, oh my god, if I have to erase one more thing because I forgot how to type because you're sitting behind me, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah. All the time.
Oh, it's been a long weekend, y'all.
Yeah.
It has been a long weekend.
It has. It's an even longer week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. It's almost the 4th of July.
Yes.
Yay! I do too.
Yeah.
And I have my like yearly review on Friday, so
yay!
I might go in there and be like, listen, I'm going to the lake on the 4th, so I might be a little hungover when I come in for my review, and I don't want any judgment.
Yeah.
Except for not really, but
yeah, I get fired probably every like other day. Like they started keeping count. Like the other day I said something and Rainey like looks over to Jeremiah, and he's like, he's already been fired like 4 times this week, so I don't. He'll deal with it. And I'm like, I just keep coming back. Like, you just can't get rid of me.
It's like a rat.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't catch. Oh, speaking of pests, the flies are really bad. And I have like 5 of them in my bathroom, and I can't get rid of them. Like, no matter how many I kill, there's still 5. And I'm like, what the freak?
Yeah.
And so I had bought this plant a couple weeks ago, but I had left it outside because they do better outside than they do inside. But it's a forest plant. Like, since it started getting so hot here, some of it was burning. And I was like, I'm going to just go ahead and bring it inside because I don't want it to die. And Richard was like, go put it in the bathroom. And then today I went to go check on it to make sure that it was still like thriving, not being outside. And there was a fucking fly in it. And I was like,
it's doing what I need it to.
not this plant. I was so happy.
I had a gigantic fly in my apartment the other day. This thing, like, I don't understand where it came from, because
like you could have sat on it and wrote it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hear something like hitting the wall, and I'm like, it can't be anything. And then Pogo gets up, my cat, he gets up and starts running towards it. And then I see it, and I'm like, no, don't, because I don't know what the hell it is. I had to take a picture of it and like Google image reverse it so that I could figure out that it was actually just a fly and it was okay, because this thing was huge.
It's probably like a horse fly.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. It was so big. Right? I think so.
Yes.
So he was having such a great time. He was chasing it all over the house, which was great. And then it just like disappeared. So I don't know what happened to it, but I am fully like ready for like a swarm of those flies to just like come up.
Listen. Yeah.
They look like the flies.
Speaking of bugs, yesterday when we were, Matt was doing the fire, we were at the cabin, cabin, not ours. Anyways, and we don't have one. Matt was doing the fire for s'mores, and Deegan was out there, and all of a sudden he runs in and he's like screaming, crying. He gets stung by a bee. Or a wasp or something. And it's the first time he's ever been stung. He was fine, by the way, but he was crying and just a little, emotional. So I tell him the first thing that comes to mind is the story about when we were
exactly what you're talking about.
And we were camping, and you had Sage, you had the bee on your neck, and Mom took the newspaper and literally beat you
with it. Yes.
With the newspaper.
Yes. She will refuse that to this day. To this day, she will refuse that she hit me with that newspaper.
Rolled it up, like a movie. Rolled it up and smacked you in the forehead with it. Yes.
In the throat. Yeah.
Was it the throat or the forehead?
On the neck. Yes. And I told him that. And he started laughing, and I was like, okay, cool. So that made him feel better. But,
I was just about to say, I was like,
better.
Him and I are more alike than, it's crazy how alike we are. Yeah.
Because after that, he was like, I want to go outside, but I don't want to get stung again. I'm like, buddy, it's okay. Like, you're going to be fine. I promise you, it's okay. And
how long have you been alive?
Yeah,
exactly.
he's like
been stung once.
Trying to pep talk himself into going. He's like, okay, and he's like, here we go. Too much.
You just say 1, 2, 3, and you do it.
I remember that we went to that campsite that year, and it was like overrun with wasps and bees and everything. And then that happened, and I wouldn't stop crying. And Mom was trying to get us to like a different campsite. And she's like freaking out. So I get it, Deegan.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Knock on wood, I have never been stung by a bee or a wasp or anything.
There's like a couple, every time I take my dog out to go walk, there's a couple of wasps like every once in a while. And she gets so close to them, and I'm just like, if you only knew, girl, like, can we please not do this? Because I'm not taking you to the vet for this. But I've been seeing a bunch of videos of like little puppies and stuff that have been stung by bees, and they're just like,
and their little faces also.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
I saw this little like chart, and it was like, just so you know, all the different kinds of bees, and it like listed all the different bees, and then like the things that look like bees but aren't really bees, and like can't sting you and stuff. And there was the one, the bumblebee, you know, the big fat bee, and it was like, this thing is harmless. It just looks scary, but they're really stupid, and honestly, it'd probably let you pick it up and pet it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Those are the ones that people have on like strings and stuff. The bumblebee.
I actually think they're totally adorable. I don't want to touch them, but they are actually adorable.
Yeah. I tattoo a lot of them. A lot of them.
Super cute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So for Rainy's sake, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah. Sorry. It was only 11 minutes.
It was only 11 minutes. Okay. So to preface this, me and Richard's 12-year anniversary was on June 30th.
Yeah.
And I was trying, thank you. I was like trying to find like a husband and wife story, because I was like, wouldn't it be so cute to do like a totally adorable story where the wife finds out that her husband's cheating and she cuts his wiener off and then he sews it back on, becomes a porn star. And then I was like,
cute.
I said, well, I don't really want to do that story. We'll do that one later. But
I never thought about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. I found a TV show called Married to Evil. And I was like, oh, perfect. Let me watch one of these episodes. So I picked one, and then I watched it and did the story about it. And it's not cute. It's actually pretty sad, but that's okay.
Do you? Okay. When
Happy anniversary to me.
Yeah. When you find shows like that, do you go through and like look at the names and like pick out the episodes, or do you go through and like just watch it in the order that they put it?
So it just depends. Like this one was just one season that they have on. It's Discovery Plus that I have, and they only had one season on it. And so if that's the case, I'll pick the ones that I like really want to watch. Yeah. But like if it's one that's got like 20 seasons, then I will just sit and watch.
Yeah.
All.
I do the same thing. I was always curious about that, because I always, if there's a bunch of episodes, I'll go through and pick the ones I want to watch. And then if I still want to watch it, I'll watch the rest of them. But I'll just like pick and choose.
Pick and choose. Well, if it's stuff like that, because they're not related, you know, like you can watch one without watching the other. All right. So this one happens in Georgia. Hi, Georgia. Oh my God, my phone. Listen, y'all. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's freaking annoying. Like, stop bugging me for 5 seconds. Okay. So Amanda Pardue was 35 years old. She worked as a receptionist at a female clinic, and she loved that job because she knew how much she was helping, and she loved helping people, and everybody knew her as such. She always made you happy, laugh. She was a great friend, and everybody that she was around felt like they were the best person in the world because she would make sure you felt that way. Like, yeah. So she had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and they lived with their grandparents, and she was divorced with her ex-husband. He started getting on all the dating sites, and it was funny because her friend was on the show and they were talking about her, and she goes, yep, she just picked left. Not right, but okay. It was so fun. I'm like, you could tell she just had no clue
idea
about the things. Yeah.
Picked left.
Yeah. And Amanda met a man named Seth Perlott. Perlott, I think is how you say it. He was like, the most handsome. He had, like he was so kind. He was so thoughtful. He, like the perfect man. Yeah. Which is always a red flag to me. I'm like, no one's perfect.
No.
But he was. Yeah. And so he didn't have like a lot of money, but he had enough where he would like take them out every weekend, and they would always go do a bunch of fun things, and they could, you know, go on vacations and blah, 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 blah. And they quickly, very quickly became like madly in love with each other. Some would say too quickly. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway.
Foreshadowing.
So he had a house in Social Circle, Georgia, which makes me giggle that they have a city called Social Circle.
Interesting.
I wonder how old that city is, because you know Georgia's old. He had, according to them, the most beautiful house. Like, he had a really big, beautiful house, and she decided to move in with him. Amanda's best friend Vina was just not very happy about it. She hadn't even met this guy, which, I mean, like, it's your friend, it doesn't really matter, but like, it's still weird, right? Like, if he's your best friend and you talk every day, you think you would have met.
Right.
And she said, you know, like, this is really soon. Are you sure you want to move in with him? You know, as long as you're happy, I'm happy, you know, kind of business. So after she moved in, Vina came to visit, and she said, I'm an interrogator. Not like in real life, but like, you know, how people are like, you know, like how dads say that. That's how she said it.
Exactly. Yeah. And
she said, I asked him every question under the sun. And she learned something that she thought was pretty interesting, was that he didn't have a job. But he had all this money. He had new cars. He had motorcycles. He had this house. He was taking them on these trips and all this stuff. Well, come to find out, it's his dad's money. His dad pays for all of his stuff. So he's 30 and dad pays for everything. Which I'm not here to judge. I mean, like, it is what it is. I'm like, shit, if my dad was rich as frick and was like, here's all your money, I'd be like, okay. I mean, you know, but it comes into play later. He's never worked. And then in summer of 2012, 6 months after moving in together, they get a knock on the door. And it's I was about to say sex. Seth's ex-girlfriend, who said, hi, here's your daughter. And Amanda had no clue that he had a daughter. She had no idea. And it's now Seth's daughter.
What would you do?
So I'll tell you what she did, which is astounding to me. She took the baby in. No questions asked. No nothing. She loved that baby. She cared for that baby. She took care of it like it was hers.
Wow.
And she fell in love with that baby. 5 years later, on June 23rd, 2017, in Tallulah Falls, Georgia, Seth and Amanda got married. No one knew that they got married. The only people at the wedding were Seth, Amanda, Amanda's 2 kids, and then Seth's little girl. And everybody found out because they posted it on Facebook. And her friends were pissed. They're like, what the frick? Her friend Carrie, they've been best friends pretty much since they were born, was like, I couldn't believe that my best friend of 38 years got married and I found out about it on Facebook. I'm like, damn, yeah. And then Vina asked her about it, and she was like, why didn't you tell me? Like, why was this a secret? You know, like, if you didn't want like a big wedding, that's fine. But like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And Amanda said she just kept saying, you know, it was just so rushed. It went on so quickly. He wouldn't even let me go get my hair done. That's weird, right? And Vina told her, she said, well, if he loved you so much, why would he not want to give you a wedding? Why would he not want your sisters to be there? Why would he not want your best friends to be there? That seems odd.
Right.
Amanda decides to stop working. And Vina is not happy about it.
Right.
Because Amanda loved her job. She loved what she did. She loved that clinic.
Yep.
And she said, absolutely not. She's like, you need to at least be a little bit financially stable by yourself. Like,
Right.
just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be able, every woman needs to be able to make some kind of money. Like, do not stop working. And she said, well, Seth wants me to stay at home and take care of the home and his daughter.
What is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at this point, Vena's like, I think he's financially trying to control you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wants you to quit your job and do nothing but stay at home. And you don't have access to his daddy's money. Like,
right.
Well, then he starts telling her what she can and can't spend money on and exactly how much she can spend on certain things. And yeah, fun times. In November of 2018, Seth decides to become a cop.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise me.
So he's never worked a day in his life.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides, you know what? I'm going to be a police officer.
Why?
You've got me.
Yeah.
But Amanda is like so proud. Like, she's like, my husband is a cop. My husband is a police officer. She is just so proud about it. And her friend said, you know, these are big shoes. If you're a Southern cop, like, you have a lot of responsibility and and people trust you so much. And she's like, I didn't think it was good. I thought he joined just because his ego told him to. And because he knew that he could control people now that he's a cop. And he could make people think that he's better than everybody else. And she's like, I didn't like that. Not for a Southern cop. And I'm like, eek. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And at this point, when he decides to become a cop, like, Vina and Carrie are like scared for Amanda. They were like, this just seems crazy. All this stuff. Like, I'm like looking at it as an outside thing. And I'm like, why is that so bad? Like, he's just a police officer. Like, yeah, he was financially abusive, but like, obviously they were saying shit that I have no idea about. I mean, now that I know the end of the story, I get it. But I'm like at this point while I'm watching the show, I'm like, why is he not allowed to be a cop? Like, I don't understand.
It just seems like that type of person. Like, that's
Yeah.
what he would do. That's definitely what.
So a few months later, Seth decides that he wants to move the family out to a lake house. That he wants to sell this house and move to a lake house. So Amanda's best friend Carrie, you know, she is a real estate agent. So Amanda calls Carrie and says, hey, can you help Seth's dad sell this house? And Carrie's like, hell yeah, I can't wait to see you. Because they kind of live far from each other. When she moved in with him, it was a little bit far away. So her and I'm assuming like her broker or whoever she works with, she was like, let's make a trip out of it. I'm going to bring her. We're going to come. We're going to, you know, hang out, blah, blah, blah. So Carrie and her friend go to the house and Amanda is like so excited. And she is showing them the house and she's in love with this house. And they're showing her how she decorated. Like, she is so excited to show them this house. And she was showing them like every tiny detail about this house. And then Seth walks in, but nobody thought Seth was supposed to be there. So that's weird. But Seth walks in and Amanda just goes completely ghost white and just starts acting really weird and like not excited anymore. And just really different. When Carrie and her friend leave, her friend was like, something's wrong with him. Something's wrong here. And she goes, I don't mean to say anything. She's like, but don't be surprised if he kills her. And I'm like, if someone completely like that doesn't know either of these people or their background or anything, just saw one little situation and is literally terrified that he's going to kill her, I can only imagine what she looked like. Right. And how scared she had to have been.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But Carrie's like, no, like, you're crazy. That's not going to happen. Like, she's my best friend. She would tell me, like, they're in love with each other. She has everything that she wants. no. And, and that's what she said. She said, I was just so confused. She was like, because she literally had everything she ever wanted. She had a kid, she had his kid, but she raised her. She had a kid, she had the husband, she had this big, beautiful house. Like, what? There's no way that this was happening. Like, she just couldn't imagine that for her best friend, right? Like, you don't want her to be that, right?
No.
Exactly.
So that, but now she's got this in her head. So she's like, okay, I'll just be vigilant with it. So in July of 2018, Seth and Amanda move into their new lake house. And this is, again, big, beautiful house right off the lake. It's got a dock. It's got jet skis. It's got all the things that a family would die for. The neighbors talk about how great this couple is. They've met them, they've interacted with them, they see them because they're neighbors, and they talk about what a great guy Seth is and how nice he is and how they just seem so happy and how they felt so safe now that there's a police officer next door. And so Carrie was like, no, see, this is great. If they're obviously watching them, like they're happy, it's cool. Like they're great now.
Yeah.
And so she starts thinking, okay, everything's okay. Well, then a little bit later, Carrie starts getting texts from Amanda saying stuff like Seth would call her fat. Seth was demeaning her. He would call her names. And they started fighting, and he would push her and grab her and throw her around. At one point, she ran out of the house, went and hid in the neighbor's bushes so that he couldn't find her.
Oh, God.
Seth sees her running and sees the direction she's running and assumes that she just went to the neighbor's house. So what does he decide to do? He goes to the neighbor's house and just lets himself in. And he's like, where's Amanda? Where's Amanda? And he's like looking around and searching their house. And obviously they don't even know that Amanda's hiding in their bushes. They're like, no, like Amanda's not here. Like, what?
Yeah.
Get the frick out of my house, bro. And they literally tell him, like, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police.
Yeah.
And then he says, call him. I am the police. And I'm like, what a fucking douchebag. What a freaking asshat.
Yeah.
So now the neighbors are like, okay, they're obviously not that happy. And if he can act this way to strangers that he doesn't know, how is he acting with his wife?
Yeah.
Ugh. So Carrie stops getting any messages from Amanda or phone calls. And then Vina starts getting messages and phone calls through Facebook. You know how you can like call, like FaceTime on Facebook. And she's thinking, that's weird. Like, why are you calling me on here? Well, he took her phone away. And it had gotten the financial abuse where he wouldn't even let her buy feminine hygiene products. Makes me want to throw up. So they were able to get her to leave a few times. But remember that little girl is not hers. And that was her Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So he would call and, he would always say, I know, but since you're gone, I don't know what's going to happen to her. And then she would get terrified that he was going to hurt her and she would come right back. And then on June 2019, it was Vina's birthday on June 6th. And Amanda, never missed her birthday, would always Zoom call her, everything. And the entire day, Vina's like, I haven't heard from her. She hasn't texted me. She hasn't even called me. Like, nothing. This is really weird. She's tried to call her. She didn't answer. She's like, what the frick? So finally, Amanda calls. And Vina goes, what are you doing? We always Zoom call. I think she meant FaceTime, but she kept saying Zoom. She was like, we always Zoom call. Like, I want to see your face. I haven't talked to you in a while. Get on the phone, like get on the video. And Amanda's like, no, I can't. Like, I'll just talk to you on the phone and blah, 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 blah. So Vena's like, this is really weird. Something's weird about this. And she quickly hits the camera button and immediately screenshots it before Amanda can take the picture away. She looks at it, and Amanda's jaw is completely bruised and swollen. Vena asked what happened, and Amanda told her that they were in a fight and he just turned around and punched her in the jaw like you would in a bar fight with another dude. Just turn around and socked her right in the face. So a different occurrence, Amanda sends Vena a picture of her eye is almost completely swollen shut and bruised.
Oh my God. I'm so mad.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so sad for her because like what a great person she is. And like she's only there because she wants to make sure that little girl is safe because she knows how he can act and doesn't want that little girl to have to deal with that. So a little bit later on September 10th, 2019, Carrie gets a Facebook message from Amanda. So they had been chit-chatting a little bit, but Amanda says, I have a super jealous husband that records everything. He will see this message because our phones are synced and my house has cameras throughout. So Carrie's talking about how, she's like, I'm so sorry. I think she's trying to I'm just assuming, I don't know, but I think she was kind of like, if she knew that Seth was going to read these messages, trying to make it seem like they were just friends talking and not like she had just read something horrific.
Yeah.
So she starts talking about that she's going to a baby shower that's not too far away from them and is asking Amanda to meet her there. She's like, well, why don't you just come to the baby shower for a little bit, hang out for a little bit, and then you can go home. And then Amanda's like, well, that's if I can get away. And then Carrie was like, why would Seth care about a baby shower? It's just a baby shower. And she's like, no, he'll care. I'm monitored all day and night. I'm like, so then Carrie starts saying, just flat out says, I'm really worried about you. Like, you're really scaring me with this conversation. And Amanda says, I have a nice place, but living in a prison. Going to delete these messages. He might still see them, but keep them for me, please. She knew that she needed to have those messages. Fall of 2019, at 9:30 to 10 o'clock, Vena gets a phone call from Amanda. And she's like freaking out. She's like, someone's walking around my house. I saw him. I saw these shadows. I saw them. They're circling my house. It's a man because I saw him walk across the window, and she's at home by herself with the little girl. And Vena's like, call 911. Have you called 911? And she's like, no, I called Seth and Seth told me not to get the police involved and that he'd take care of it when he got home. So Vena's like, it's probably just some stupid kids trying to break into people's houses, it's the rich neighborhood. They're just trying to steal some shit. Don't worry about it. Well, then the basement door starts jiggling and they're trying to get into the house, whoever it is. She's terrified, but she refuses to call 911 because Seth told her not to call 911. So she's having to sit and be beyond terrified that someone's going to break into her house with her and that little girl there. And she is so afraid of Seth that she will not call 911. Ugh, I hate it. So, and this was something that would happen quite a few times. And it only happened when Seth was on night shift. It never happened when Seth was home. And so her friends were like, this is Seth. Either he's paid somebody to do this, or he's the one doing it, and he's using this as another thing to terrorize Amanda. And I'm thinking, what the freaking hell? What is wrong with you? And what if your daughter's awake?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she sees all this.
Yes.
And she's terrified. And you're just okay with it?
Yeah.
God, I cannot deal with this man. I hate him so much.
Mm-hmm.
On January 28th, 2020, Vena gets a Zoom call from Amanda. They're hiding in the little girl's room, and she can hear the little girl crying. And Seth comes in, grabs Amanda, and is like dragging her out of the house. And Venus sees this. Venus sees him grab her and start pulling her out of the house. And she hears the little girl being like, yelling, "Mommy, are you okay? Are you okay? Mommy, are you okay?" So Vina finally yells to get the girl's attention. And she's like, "Hang up the phone right now and call 911. And she does. The little girl calls 911. Amanda somehow gets to the neighbor's house and also calls 911. And she tells dispatch. Okay, so keep in mind what she tells her and then what the little girl says later.
Mm-hmm.
So she tells dispatch that he was pushing her up against the wall. He kept shoving his finger in her face and would kept putting his arms or his hands around her neck. When the police arrive, she did have red marks all on her chest and her neck and all over her face. They went to go find and talk to the daughter, and she was hiding in her closet. Mm-hmm. So they have a video of this little girl, and because they asked her, what happened? Why were they fighting and stuff like that, which totally gets, like, I know they need to know, but I'm like,
yeah,
that's horrible.
Anyway, they're sitting there like talking to this little girl, and I'm like, this must be such a common occurrence for her that she's telling it like they asked her what she did at school today.
exactly. Yeah.
And it made me want to throw up watching it. Like, I was like, oh my God, I hate this. It was like making me cry. It was horrible. So they bring her, I'm assuming, to like the sheriff's department because she was being filmed, being interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And the little girl said that she was trying to help Miss Amanda, but her dad told her to go to her room. And so she did, because her dad told her to. But then she heard Miss Amanda screaming and thought she was going to get hurt, and thought that she was getting hurt. So she ran to her. She thinks that Daddy kicked her. And then he grabbed her by the arms and pushed her over the laundry table. And then hit her and shoved her out the door. And she was saying that she was mad at her dad and she didn't know why he would do that to her. And I'm like, this poor little girl.
My
Imagine,
God.
she was probably, I don't remember when she was born, maybe 6 or 7. And again, just telling this like it was telling you what she did at school that day. So the deputy puts him in handcuffs and takes him to jail. And Amanda calls Vina and is like, he's going to prison. He's going to jail. And Vina's like, pack up your shit and get out. Get out of there while you can. She was like, he's going to lose his job over this. He's going to lose his shit. You need to be gone when he gets out. The next day is his bail hearing. And Amanda's there. And the judge says, Seth will not be around Amanda because obviously they have a lot of money and he's going to get bail.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda says that she did not want that. So keep in mind, he has a history of threatening his daughter.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor was like, you could tell she was terrified. And she was so upset. But she said stuff that he did not believe. Like, he didn't believe that she actually wanted that, just the way that she was talking. And he said, the judge asked her many times, are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure that you're okay with this? You really don't want a separation order or whatever it was called? And she was like, well, he has nowhere else to go. What do you mean?
Oh my God, he actually does.
He's got
what do you mean?
like he's got his family, he's got whatever. So Seth was, possibly going to lose his job. They were talking to him about he was going to lose custody of his daughter. And he just sat at the house for 6 days between when he got out on bail and being home. And Vina called her all day, every day. How are you doing? How is he doing? And he said, she just kept saying, he has never been nicer to me. He is being so kind, so nice. And that put me like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like if
That's
he's
not
acting
good.
like this, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's not good.
And then on February 3rd, 2020 at 1:11, Putnam County charges Seth with assault and issues a subpoena. A deputy shows up at his house immediately afterwards to give him the subpoena. And he's knocking at the door, ringing the doorbell. He can hear footsteps walking around upstairs and like moving from here to there and everything else. But nobody ever comes to answer the door. He's like, I rang the doorbell. I kept ringing the doorbell. And he goes, but he's a police officer. If he saw me on the ring doorbell, he knew why I was there.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And he said, I stayed for 7 minutes and then I left. And then at 1:45, he gets a call saying he needed to go back to that house because there was an incident. Seth is outside on the phone when he shows up. And he is just crying and unconsolable. And he said that Amanda was dead and she had committed suicide.
Mm-mm.
They walk up into the bedroom and Amanda was laying on the bed. She had a gunshot wound to her head. The gun was laying next to her. The magazine was out of the gun next to her hand. Her arms were like completely like down and next to her sides, and her legs were straight together and put together.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen. Oh my God.
And the guy who, I guess the interview, I don't know what he was. I forgot. The deputy, he wasn't a deputy. I guess he would have been, I don't know. He was a guy who like did the whole thing. Like he came in and whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, I had been doing that for a lot of years, and I have a whole college degree about this. He goes, you could have picked anybody off the street and showed them that scene, and nobody would have believed that she killed herself.
Mm.
Ugh. So
thank God he's an idiot.
Yeah, thank God. And I'm like, you're a fucking police officer. Granted, you might not be like a detective, so you might not know like in depth about it, but you should know better. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're a freaking idiot. Hold on. Okay, sorry, my mouth is getting dry. I was about to start doing that.
Yes.
Okay. So they say, okay, Seth, we're going to take you to the sheriff's station to do some more questioning. He wasn't under arrest, but they were going to take him to the sheriff's station. The deputy that drove him there just kept thinking, like, he is so clean. There's not a drop of blood on him. And he goes, that is just crazy because he's a first responder. He was like, we are trained in these situations. And he's like, and you immediately would go to try to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And you don't come out of that clean.
Yeah.
And he's like, but he was just so clean. And he said, like the whole time Seth is crying in the car and he does not stop talking and he does not stop crying the entire time.
Yeah.
And he reiterates that she killed herself. And then he says, right before they got to the sheriff's department, Seth says, I want you to pull over right now, take me out of the car and shoot me in the back of the head. And he's like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, did he think that would help?
Exactly.
Like, he knew that he wasn't going to get out and shoot him.
Yes.
Like, did he really think that was going to help?
Where's the little girl?
I don't know where she is. They didn't really specify that, but she was not at the house.
Okay, thank God.
So the entire time Seth's getting interviewed, this detective, that was the word I was looking for earlier that I couldn't remember. He is like so cute. Like, old man, white hair, white, Southern Georgia those mustache, not like a curly, but like the
broom mustache. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like he just had this Southern accent and he was taking no shit. And you could tell the second he saw that woman dead in that bed that he hated Seth. Like he did not like this man.
Good.
So he's interviewing him and he's asking all kinds of questions. And, I'm listening to they had it taped and I'm listening to him and Seth is just like, listen, I'm going to be real with you. I just lost my wife. And I'm a police officer. And police officer to police officer, I didn't do anything. My wife, listen to how self-centered this is. My wife looked me in the eyes, apologized for what she put me through, and then executed herself. She just kept saying that she was so sorry and that she ruined me and then executed herself.
Wow.
And the detective was like, I have interviewed a lot of people that have done a lot of bad things, and I have never heard someone use the word execute like that. And I'm like,
no. Oh my.
And again, like the entire time, he's like, she ruined me. She ruined my name and blah, 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 blah. They shouldn't have arrested me in January. And the detective's like, you sure want to talk about your name and your job and that we shouldn't have arrested you in January? He was like, all I want to talk about is your dead wife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was,
exactly.
he was like, what the frick, bro? Yeah. Ugh. Hate this man so much.
Yes.
So much.
This is bad.
Okay. So that night, Vina gets a Facebook call from Amanda's cousin. She's like, what the, like it was late. And she's like, why am I getting a Facebook call? I don't even know who this is. So she gets the phone and she answers it. And he immediately asks her, he says, did you talk to Amanda today? And she goes, I immediately just started crying. I said, he killed her. He killed her, didn't he? He killed her. And she's like, and that's how I found out that he had killed Amanda. Makes me, I hate it.
I can imagine that.
So they needed more evidence against him before they actually arrested him. So after questioning him, they let him go. They went back to the room and they walked every inch of it, tried to recreate how she could have killed herself and how she was laying and everything. And they were like, there's no way. There is no possible way that she killed herself. Absolutely no way.
Yeah.
So on February 5th, 2020, they get an arrest warrant and went to Seth's sister's house where he was staying. And when they got there, he was sitting on the front porch talking to his attorney.
Of course. This man.
And then on February 25th, 2022, the trial starts for the murder of Amanda. And the entire time, Seth has no remorse whatsoever. He's literally just sitting there, staring at the table, whatever. They said the worst, this makes me want to cry. It's so horrible. I can't believe first of all, I can't believe anybody would tell her this, but I can't believe they made her say it. But the little girl said that Amanda told her that if Seth lost custody of her, that he was going, and he got arrested, or no, if he had lost custody of her because he was arrested, that he was going to shoot her dead.
Oh my God.
Like, could you imagine?
That poor girl.
So he was proven guilty and he was given life without parole. Thank God.
Thank God.
And then at the end of it, it's like her two friends, which is so sad. They're both like bawling and they were like, I should have done more. I should have done more. I should have just gotten in the car. I should have driven down there. I should have gotten her. I should have gotten on an airplane. I should have just picked her up and made her leave. And I'm like, first of all, There was nothing you could have done.
Mm-mm.
There's nothing you could have done.
Mm-mm.
He would have called and threatened that little girl. Amanda would have gone right back. All she was worried about is protecting that little girl, which could, you know, I mean, not good for her that she ended up dying over it, but like she loved that little girl and wanted to make sure that she was safe. And there was absolutely nothing that they said or did that was going to change her mind about that situation.
No.
But she did say, she said, if you have a friend in this situation, she said, ask the questions, be nosy, get in their business, drive over there if you need to, call the police as many times as you need to. They were like, just be the annoying friend, even if it makes them mad. So, but yeah, that's the end of that story.
Oh my God.
That's good advice for that situation.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Oh my God.
I'm
so
like
sad.
almost in tears right now. That was
Yeah.
hard.
I know.
I'm like, just makes me so sad. And her two friends, and that Vina girl, like they both obviously loved her so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that Vina girl, she was just so like, she was just so sassy and just so like,
Yeah.
you know.
Oliver one man's ego.
Anyway, I just loved. Yeah, it's quite literally what it was. Like he wanted to control her and everything else in his life. And the second it became not in his control, he killed her, which is crazy.
And even afterwards, like you knew, like he was not in the right mind.
No.
In general, just because like your wife just died and you very possibly killed her, and you're worried about your reputation. Like how fucked up is that?
Exactly.
He didn't care about anybody. It was all him.
I wonder what his family says. Like,
that's
where did
literally
the little girl
what I was
go?
just thinking. And I was literally just thinking, because I'm thinking, one, where's her mom?
Yes.
Because I know she had dropped the baby off, but like I mean I don't know the like custody situation. Like did she still see her? Like I don't know. And I'm like, did she just go back full time with her mom? Like I don't know. And then I'm thinking, you got out of prison for this and you were at your sister's house. Like what the hell did you tell your sister? And like did your sister believe that she really killed herself? Like maybe she did. I mean, you know, I'm sure he hid well that he was a piece of shit husband, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm like, that, and it's just crazy. And then I'm like thinking in that situation, like, how do you, it's such confusing feelings.
Yeah.
Like, that's your brother. You love him, obviously. But then you're like, fuck, he just murdered somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to feel about this? Like, obviously, I'm like upset that he murdered somebody and I'm pissed at him. But like, do I just stop loving him? Like, I can't just like stop loving my brother, you know? Like, it's just, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. So scary.
Don't murder anybody, okay?
Please don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story.
Moral of the story, just stop.
Yeah,
stop
don't be an asshole. Don't murder anybody.
No. Yeah. Get out of the situation. It's hard. Trust me. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
Being with someone who's controlling, but the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away. Involved. Never.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good job.
You know, I feel like shit. I should have looked up things. I should have looked up like.
Are you haunted too?
I accidentally pressed the clapping button.
Oh.
If that's actually.
If it's on the actual recording.
After I'm like, I feel like shit. It just starts. So they're like, yay. Anyway, I literally had meant to go look up like because I think there's a phone number you can call specifically for like
domestic abuse.
Domestic abuse.
Yeah,
I totally forgot to look it up before I got on here.
There's a generic like a
I think it's like
899 or something.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like 3 numbers. I just couldn't remember.
I can't remember what it is, but we've used it for like the mental health episodes and stuff.
Yeah, we'll put it in the notes. But I know there's
a different one, like a specific.
Yeah. I'll find it and put it in the notes of the thing. So if you need it, you can find it there.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, it was sad. I hated it. I was like, cool, I picked the worst one. I should have done the one where she cut his wiener off, because at least everybody lived after that.
And then you're too far into this to like go back and like think of it something else to write about. Like I've done the same thing. The same thing.
And then it got to the little girl. I mean, it's like literally showing videos of her being questioned and stuff. And I'm like, I hate this. And I'm like crying. And I'm like, I hate this for this little girl. I hate this so much. I hate this. Yeah. I'm like, don't ever bring kids into it.
Yeah.
No. She just makes me so mad.
It's kids and animals. As soon as kids or animals get hurt in anything, it's a different kind of...
Because they're just so innocent and they don't understand. Yeah. And then like you're going to shape their whole life off of you being a piece of shit. Yeah. And I'm like, and it's just not okay.
Right. I was watching, have you guys seen Your Honor on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
It's crazy. But there's one episode where something happens to a dog. And I'm up at the studio watching this, and I'm just like sitting there watching it. And Rainey is like, what happened? Why'd you have to turn it off? And I was like, I'm not doing it. No, we are stopping watching that show right now because of what just happened to that animal. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. It's crazy.
The worst. I hate it.
But then I can watch like serial killer movies all day and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I don't know why it's so. I think it's literally just because like the innocence. Because I'm like, they don't know better.
Yeah,
like, exactly. You're picking the easy target and you're being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a piece of shit for you to kill an adult human being, but you know what I mean?
It's a different type of person that can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I need to figure out how to. I'm afraid to hit the X and like X out of here, but I'm afraid I'm going to start making stuff start clapping again. So I'm like, I'm afraid.
It's like really random noises throughout the entire episode.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was told really well. It was a little bit different than something that we normally do. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's good. Good.
I hated the story.
Now you gotta go watch. Yeah. Well,
I know. I want to watch it now.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I forgot the name of the episode, but I remember seeing like the actual name of the episode. I think it had something to do with the lake house or something, and being like, "Oh, dope!" Like this will be maybe it'll be like spooky or something, and then it wasn't. But it was just sad. Yeah. But it's called Married to Evil. It's on Discovery Plus. I don't know what else is on. They have a whole like.
Great. Well, if they want to find more of us, Storm, where can they find us?
We are on Facebook, Three Siblings Walk Into a Bar. We are on Instagram at Three Swib Podcast. Go on there, like, comment, do all the things. Also, please rate and review. It's super, super helpful for us. YouTube, go watch us on the tubes. Also, like, comment on there as well. And yeah.
That's what happens when siblings swap.